All right, let's. It feels like we want to talk about the movie, so let's.
I'm ready
Oh
to
yeah.
go.
Oh no, I'm actually.
I thought we were already.
I've been recording.
Oh yeah. Stop this.
So that'll
somewhere.
just. But yeah, it got to 5 minutes. It got to 5 minutes. I figured let's actually break into it. As you guys know, I don't know how to start the podcast, so we'll either start just by jumping right into the movie or with something along the lines of "Welcome to Late to the Movies." My name's Ben Holt, and this is a podcast where my friends and I get to fill in our movie blind spots this week. Finishing the trilogy of Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings films, we have The Return of the King.
Turn of the cast.
And since we started with that, I didn't do my customary Happy Hobbit-days. What does Gimli say?
And my axe.
Like, oh, hold on. I got it here. I wrote it down.
No one
We're built for
tosses a
sprinting.
dwarf.
We're natural sprinters.
Certainty of death, small chance of success. What are we podcasting for? And we're into it. Great. I guess
There's also not always a non-zero chance of death, so it checks out.
Yeah. Left, right, across your podcast dial. Your guest this week. We got Robbie,
Hey.
Corey, and Greg.
Hey.
We all just said, "Hey."
Hey.
I don't know.
We need catchphrases.
I do not want to catch
Baba Booey.
Oh, God.
I think that one's.
Bow.
I'm almost positive that one's taken, but that one's not. You could go Rob a bow bow.
Well, actually, that's more of a Rob. He's
Yeah,
Rob.
it should be Robbie.
He's
but you
Rob
already
about
called
bow.
it.
So I'll give that to him. I'll be like,
Corey,
Mine is going to be,
Dory.
hey, it's Robbie.
Oh no,
And hey, it's Robbie here too. And
it's fine. I go by Rob.
I say for anyone who doesn't like know us and recognize our voices, that'll be very confusing.
Yes.
If we're all claiming to be Robbie.
I guess I'll just be Spartacus then.
Yeah, it's a real Spartacus situation. Okay, so let's, I guess, briefly.
the greatest movie, one of the greatest movies ever made.
Yeah, normally we do the what have you been watching recently, but it seems like we got a lot to talk about, so whatever.
Do you actually have? I feel like it's kind
You
of
can't skip
important
that.
because
Yeah.
I watched the.
Okay, I feel like I've watched stuff too, but we just like
Well, you-
immediately talked for 6 minutes about the movie.
It's a good movie.
I feel like we talked about it on this podcast maybe one or two episodes ago, but I watched The Leftovers.
Okay, yeah, we did.
So that's
yeah,
I feel like
yeah.
I had to like.
Was
I
it
can't-
good?
Like, yeah, it was really good. I enjoyed it. People complained about the first season, but the first season reminded me of the grocery store scene from The Mist over like 8 episodes,
Oh,
and I was just
I
like,
love that.
I really enjoyed that. And then the other 2 seasons were really good. It had a very satisfying ending too. So I think
Was that
that's-
was that show canceled?
no?
No,
just
okay,
They
just-
actually just finished it? Okay.
Yeah.
3 seasons. It was from the creators of Lost, and I feel like they actually did like a really good job tying everything up.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. He learned his lesson of not just like extending a show beyond what he immediately or originally, mapped out. Lessons learned with Lost. That was
I'm still upset that Flanagan's not getting a second season.
of Midnight Club. Yeah, that's recent news too.
I am really laughing about it because you guys were talking about it in Discord. Like you mentioned that he's not getting a second season. And the next day, I booted up the first Lord of the Rings podcast episode and it starts with Ben being like, yeah, so I watched this show, really hoping it gets a second season. I was like, ooh.
yeah.
Sorry, past
Didn't
Ben.
age well.
Right. Because we recorded that episode a few weeks in advance. And yeah, it seemed like it was the way it was going, but it is funny because Netflix had a whole like Flaniverse tab on Netflix.
And then they were like,
And
"Oh,
then
by the
they're
way,
like,
you're not."
the most recent show. Fuck that guy.
You know how you made an entire season basically banking on the second season
Mhm.
for like people to be satisfied? Well, no.
He did not basic. He did write a Tumblr post with tying up loose ends. In case you're someone who watched that too and want to know where it was going to go, I guess that's the only way the second
It was
season
really
will
cool of them
exist.
to do.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
love that he uses Tumblr.
Greg, with all your free time, have you watched any movies? Been going to the theaters a lot?
Yeah. I've been hitting up the theater basically daily and not dealing with my new baby. No, I've watched nothing. I mostly try to sleep.
Yeah.
I've been watching stuff. I watched all of that Wednesday show.
I watched
Oh,
that too.
Yeah,
was
I
it
thought it was
good?
really good.
It was very good.
Honestly, I would have never watched it except people kept bringing it up and I kept seeing how like good it was. So I was like, all right, I'll put on an episode while I like hang out with the Dagoos. And then
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I'm intrigued.
Mm-hmm.
And then I watched the second episode and then I was like, okay, well, I'm in.
Netflix keeps advertising that one to me, and I'm like, oh, this looks kind of good.
Apparently
it
their
was
most
good.
successful show ever, apparently.
Yeah.
They say
According
that
to them.
every time.
Yeah.
I know they say that every time, but they even said it was more successful than Stranger Things. So
Wow.
so they don't normally compare it to one of their own shows. They normally just say this is the biggest.
Jenny
thing that's
Ortega
ever
actually learned cello and played that
Really?
Painted Black cover. It was I downloaded the cover. I really liked it.
That's cool.
It's a cello cover of Painted Black. It was really cool.
It
I'll
was
have to,
really
I'll have to
cool.
watch it then.
She had a big
that's-
year. She was one of the new stars of the rebooted Dish Scream movie.
Yeah.
She was in the movie X, the Ty West slashery movie from earlier this year too. That's what I saw her in. But yeah, and now she's in this. Was a pretty good 2022.
Was that Tim Burton?
Yeah, Tim
The
Burton was
series,
some
yeah.
of the
Yeah.
episodes, yeah.
Yep, from Tim Burton. It's this thing.
It seemed like towards the end there was like 2 episodes that didn't have him on it, but I don't know if that's just like an EP.
Tim
thing or-
Burton's Wednesday, directed by Henry Selick.
Yeah, yeah.
Poor guy.
Poor guy.
The other thing I've been
Can't
watching
catch a
is
break.
the show Chainsaw Man.
Yeah, a lot of people are.
It's the like, you know how like there's certain things that when they come out, it's almost like the turning point or like starts the new age of something. Like in movies, there's
Mhm.
that whole show about it, right? That you were talking about,
Oh,
Greg.
yeah, kind of. Yeah.
I feel like this is one of those things. Like that studio Mappa is, the animation's insane. You can tell they use 3D stuff, but without making it look super cheesy. It's wild.
I thought you meant the Chainsaw Man genre, so we're just gonna have like chainsaw people
Everybody's
movies.
gonna have
Everything's
chainsaws,
Is
yeah.
he like does he have chainsaw arms? Or is he just a lumberjack?
Kinda. He does have chainsaws that can come out of anywhere of his body.
That's weird.
So he's more of a literal chainsaw man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah. In
Okay.
a way, it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
Show.
So is it more of a Batman or a man bat situation, right?
Yeah. He's kind of like 2 people in one, but you know, sharing a body.
Yeah. Good stuff. I've been watching some movies. I scooted on out to the theaters for the 1 week that Glass Onion was in the Cineplexes. So Knives Out 2, which is called Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery.
Okay. Yep. How was it?
It was awesome.
I've still never seen Knives Out, and I've only heard awesome things about it. And it's like one of those ones that are like on my list, and I kind of keep missing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you should see it.
I don't know anything
Greg.
about it, so it's not like spoiled or anything, which is really nice.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
that's
know
nice.
absolutely
That's great.
nothing about it actually.
Oh, yeah, you got the really fun movie. Came out, made $300-something million. Got nominated for best screenplay.
Mhm.
Then Netflix gave Rian Johnson, who's the director and writer, like $400 million for 2 Knives Out sequels. They put it in theaters for 1 week and then took it out.
I heard about that. Yes, and people liked it too, right? It did well or got good reviews.
So it's just like a Netflix agreement that I guess whenever they sign the contracts with Rian Johnson, it has like a 1 week theatrical run, and then it's as we're recording this, that week was a few weeks ago, and the time when it actually goes on the service on Netflix isn't for another week or 2. Very smart, good stuff.
Oh,
Yeah, there's a lot
that
of
makes
people that
sense
would
now.
love to spend money and watch this. They are not allowed to.
They're not allowed to do that. I think
In any form.
I think when this episode comes out might be the week that it's out on Netflix, but I really enjoyed it. It was good. It's a nice twist on the first one. All different characters aside from Daniel Craig's Benoit Blanc, the detective.
Benoit Blanc.
Yeah, it's super fun, really funny movies, both of them. Very, fun. They're just super fun and the kind of thing that you want to see with other people. So, good holiday movies too, because it's when you're gathering with people. It's a fun thing to throw on. The whole family will love it.
Be nice if it was out in the theater during the holiday
Is
or
there action
available
and
in
violence? Because then I can watch it with my dad.
There is some. There's some
It can be the
gunplay.
lowest budget possible. It doesn't matter as long as there's some
Yeah.
fighting.
There's eventually some explosions.
Okay.
Maybe.
Good enough.
Maybe,
Sold.
Maybe not. I don't know if I want. Yeah. But yeah, both are really good. You don't necessarily need to watch the first to watch the second one, but they're both really good movies. So why not?
Glass Onion like a well-known thing, or is that just a random title?
It's a Beatles song.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I didn't know if it
course.
was like I don't know, a thing I was missing.
It's also like a concept.
Okay.
but you don't really need to know.
Did they go
I don't
over it in
wanna-
the movie?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, don't worry about it.
Yeah. There's layers to it.
All right. I
Just
think
don't
that's
throw
enough for
stones
today.
at it.
And then out on Mubi this week. As we're recording it just last Friday, Decision to Leave came out on Mubi, and it was out in theaters and stuff, but nowhere near where we live.
Wait, what the hell is Mubi?
It's another streaming service.
Oh, okay. I'm guessing they have movies.
They have movies.
They have movies.
Movies.
Yeah, advertised a lot on Blanchett, as you might, unless you skip all the ads. You probably
I do
heard
skip
it.
all the ads, but I hear it very briefly.
Yep. Before you realize it's an ad.
Yes.
And yeah, so Decision to Leave's the new movie from Park Chan-wook. He made Old Boy, Handmaid, Lady Vengeance, and it's super fucking good.
Yeah, I do want to watch that.
So that's out on streaming now. It played in theaters, but like nowhere near us,
Yeah.
as seems to happen.
Boston might have had it, right?
Yeah, definitely.
The last time I watched like a Korean film, I had to go to Boston. And I was like, this is like a whole day trip just to watch this.
Yeah. So I don't know. It'll probably break into international. Park Chan-wook got the best director at Cannes for it. So,
Oh,
it's really quite something. Is there like a fun quote we can use to transition? The biggest sweep and the most Oscars period ever won by a movie, tied for that. But
I think it basically won everything it could. So, like, obviously it can't win Best Adapted and Best Original. Can't win Best Animated.
yep.
It won everything it could, minus the acting categories
Yep.
and directing, I believe.
This was the best movie
Wait,
ever. Too
yeah.
bad everyone in it sucks.
Yes. Best movie ever, but everyone in it sucked.
It won best directing.
Oh, it got Best Director. Okay.
Yeah.
So it just missed the acting and then the few that it essentially was like not eligible for.
Yes. Yeah. Let's break in with that because I actually have the list up now. Best Picture, Best Director, Best Music, Original Song. That's Into the West, which plays.
The fact that it even got Best Original Song is so funny.
Yeah, that plays over the credits. The Annie Lennox song "Into the West." Best Music, Original Score, Howard Shore, who I think
sure.
he's nominated for all three of these
Legend.
movies. Really good stuff. Best Writing Adapted, Visual Effects, Production Design, Costume Design, Makeup and Hairstyling, Sound Mixing, Film Editing, all that stuff.
Best
So, yeah.
movie to take place in Middle Earth.
So I think that at the time there's probably 21-ish categories, and the only ones that didn't win were things like I said, documentary short, live, any kind of shorts, animated, and then the acting categories, obviously. But it won.
I'm going to choose not to fact check that. That sounds right to me.
I think it won everything it could except for those like actors.
Did they just
Yeah.
choose not to submit the actors for consideration?
It's tough, and I think especially with this one, it's tough. I don't think anyone's really on screen.
It's a
for
big
more
ensemble
than
cast. You know what I mean?
20 minutes.
Who would you
I
say?
Probably
even-
could have gotten Ian McKellen an award.
Who would you say is the lead actor of this movie?
Either Frodo
Sam.
or Aragon.
Sam's the real MVP.
Sam.
Liv
He
Tyler
really is. we'll
Liv,
talk more about that after, but
Yeah.
Liv Tyler's billed above Viggo Mortensen in the credits. So, anyway, I think it's pretty clear that most of us have seen this movie a bunch of times and love it a lot. Me, Robbie, and Cory. And Greg we're cheating this week a little bit, right? Because you did see this on a field trip with no context as a
So
child,
I
right?
thought I did. That's what I.
Okay.
So I swear.
you mean you didn't
that
remember all 3 hours of this
in
movie?
middle school, I swear they brought us on a field trip to see this movie, and I had not seen the other ones, but I went because the other option was to stay in school and do homework all day. And I swear I went to see it, but after watching it, I was like, I have no memory of this place, and I really was like, I the only thing I remember in this whole movie is the end scene, but I think I've just happened to catch it or like. You know what I mean? I knew he bites off the finger, and I know Frodo says he's not going to throw the ring, and then Gollum falls in. That part I know. And I knew that Aragorn goes and gets Ghost to help him, but that was it.
Okay.
So now I'm like, maybe I feel like I would have remembered something. I guess middle school was a while ago.
Maybe you fell asleep.
Maybe I fell asleep. I don't know. Maybe.
I was just having a great time picturing you with no context for the other movies, watching this, and the opening scene is two characters we have not met before murdering each other over a ring that you knew nothing about.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, if I did go see this, I'd probably just talk to someone on the side of me the whole time or fell asleep or something.
I'm sure you weren't the only one in that position.
Yeah, I feel like I don't remember.
Just killed his cousin.
I swore it
Wow,
was
those
a
must
thing,
be the
but-
main characters. Wait, they've been murdered. One's turned into a horrible monster.
One of them aged very poorly.
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't even know. You'd be like, what the fuck happened to that guy? We just never saw him again?
Yeah, right, yeah. All right, so with that in mind, Greg, do you want to give us a 1-minute plot summary for Lord of the Rings Return of the King?
Yeah, it's pretty easy to summarize in a minute, I think. So,
Yep.
sure, I'll give it a shot.
Extended.
Oh, God. So our movie starts off, our fellowship minus the most important people, Frodo and Sam, go to Isengard. They scoop up Merry and Pippin. They realize Saruman is all dealt with. He's just going to get locked in his tower, Rapunzel style, I guess.
Sure.
They go back to Rohan, that city over there. They realize that Sauron is going to attack Minas Tirith, so they're going to go there to deal with that. Frodo and Sam are just walking. Gollum has decided he's going to kill them, and he starts kind of dividing Frodo and Sam. All that's going on. Aragorn goes and gets help from ghosts to defend Minas Tirith, I guess. Frodo and Sam, their party gets broken up by Gollum. Things start to go south. Rohan ends up going to help Gondor and Minas Tirith. They managed to win over there after Aragorn and Gimli and Legolas show up with the Ghost Army. Frodo and Sam are not going to make it. There's too many orcs in between them and Mount Doom. Aragorn leads the rest of the army to the Black Gate as like a distraction. They're just going to die to give Sam and Frodo like 2 hours to try and make it to Mount Doom. It's enough. They get there. Frodo decides he's not going to throw the ring in. Gollum steals it and he falls in the mountain. And they get scooped up and they wrap the movie up with a nice little bow. Aragorn's the king. Frodo leaves forever. And he writes a book. Gets a big deal on that.
Yeah. Gets a big advance and retires.
Yep. The end.
Yeah, I wasn't checking the time, but that felt not that long. Good job.
Yeah. Not an easy movie to summarize.
We starts by seeing Andy Serkis's actual face before he becomes all gollumed out and CGI'd and shit. Killing Smeagol killing Deagle for the ring.
I did really like their Smeagol and Deagle.
Yep.
That whole family extended just was not very creative with names, apparently.
I did like that scene. I like that. They really didn't need to. I was like all in on. I was like, yeah, Gollum. He had the ring at some point. He's like, it was so long ago. Who even cares what happened? You know what I mean? But it was nice. It was a nice little like, oh, here you go. This is how this all happened. So
yeah, I like that. It's the way it pitches it in the movie, at least, is that like when he's been calling the evil side of him, the Gollum side of him, calling the Smeagol side of him a murderer, he's kind of just talking about this. And it kind of gives you the impression that he actually hasn't murdered anyone else.
yes.
Because he had the ring, he was satisfied.
Yeah, right. Because he was fine. He was chilling.
He's like, just don't touch my ring, and
yeah,
I'll be good.
Right. Yeah. And you're like, oh, this guy seems really evil. It's like, well, he killed one guy, but it was
I'll
like
be honest,
hundreds of years ago.
I didn't get a vibe that Gollum was super evil. The other two movies.
I
think it helps because
that helps.
Gandalf. Before you see him, Gandalf gives you a speech that he's not about him not being evil. You know what I mean?
About it being a good thing that Bilbo didn't murder him.
Yeah, although it gives you a thing that's like, oh, we don't know what Bilbo's decision is going to be. It could be like a big help, or it could be that like doom for us.
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
I did like that the intro scene basically picks up where the first one leaves off.
Yes.
So like it ends almost exactly there where the ring is falling into the water. And I like that they just completed the full circle of like, you have a full picture of everywhere the ring's been basically since Sauron lost it.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that's true. And the first like half hour of this movie is just fucking ripping. It's just moving so fast. They have so much to do. The Minas Tirith fight starts at like an hour 26-ish minutes in.
Wow.
And they have a lot to do to set that up and to introduce you to everyone. And you get to see Denethor eating his chicken and there's all that.
It's gonna be
all
on the
that
list
stuff.
of, like top
happens.
10 grossest scenes just because of how they did the sound work on it.
Yeah,
It's like, oh
yeah,
my
it's the
God.
sound work. He's got the
squelching
blood
or
on
whatever
his face.
noise that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's but all that to say, like they have to move really fast and get a lot of stuff done. And it reminded me a lot of like the last couple Avengers movies where they just have so many people that you need to check in on that you're getting like a really efficient couple minutes with each person.
Yeah.
And you're kind of bouncing around. But I don't know.
That's what makes it hard to summarize because they bounce back and forth a lot.
Yeah.
But it doesn't, they do a really good job with it because they give you just enough time with each character where you're like, oh, okay, I got some stuff. I'm happy with this. And then like, okay, we're going to go over to this person now.
Yeah, and a lot of that's in the adaptation too. Peter Jackson going with sort of like the appendices version of the timeline as opposed to how it works in the books. And a couple moments that really stood out to me were when the whole bit of Gandalf getting to Minas Tirith into meeting the steward, Denethor, and then on the balcony talking with Pippin, and then talking about Minas Morgul goes directly into Frodo, Sam, and Gollum climbing the secret stair at Minas Morgul, goes directly into introducing you to the Witch King, and and that's all like as the stuff when the light's coming out of Minas Morgul and stuff, it's actually cutting back to Gandalf and to the hobbits, and it's like really tying all these things together.
Yes.
In a way that it could have felt really disconnected, but you're like, oh, all these characters, even though they don't know it, they're all kind of seeing this same thing from different angles.
Yeah, it was really cool.
It's good. It's a good job.
I felt like out of everything that's happening, though, the thing I cared about most was Frodo and Sam, honestly.
That's good.
I loved all the stuff that was going on with Frodo and Sam. It was always all my favorite stuff. And I know it's just them like walking around with Gollum, but I think it's because I don't know I didn't know anything that was going to happen with them. Not that I knew what was going to happen with the other ones, but they made it pretty clear, like, they're going to attack Minas Tirith. So I was like, oh, it's going to be like kind of like two towers. They're going to be battling at Minas Tirith. So I had a pretty good idea of like what was going to happen with them. But Sam and Frodo, all I knew was like Gollum's about to try and kill them. They're clearly going to like they're pushing that like Frodo's very much like the ring's really taking its toll at this point. He's believing Gollum that like, Sam's going to go for the ring, which makes a lot of sense, to be totally honest. You know what I mean? It's not like a big stretch. He's like, hey, Sam's going to try to take the ring from you. Like, yeah, like that could happen. So
Gollum presents it in a really good way too, where he's like, he's just going to offer to help with the burden. And it's like, you son of a bitch. Like, of course he's going to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. He sees you struggling and like dying.
Yes. You know what I mean? So I'm like, oh my God, what's going to happen over here? Like, I was dying to know. So every time they went back to Frodo and Sam, I was like, yeah, give me more Frodo and Sam. What are these guys doing?
That's really interesting. That's cool to hear. I think that'd make Peter Jackson happy to hear that you're not just interested in, the trolls and the catapults with bits of wall flying everywhere.
Yeah, that was all really cool and it looked really cool, but I don't know. I was very interested to see what's going on with Frodo and Sam.
The true MVP of these movies is Sam.
Yeah, I agree. Sam's awesome.
Sam is MVP, but I'm being honest, I really like Frodo. I think it's mostly because of like Elijah Wood, honestly. Like him just falling apart. He does so good at just like crumbling to like nothing.
I agree. I think Frodo's like the most interesting character to me,
Yes.
but Sam is, I love Sam too. I love when he just like, I don't know, just something so perfect about the way he processes information that he's kind of like a little oafy, but the way he's eventually like, well, I know I can't carry the ring, but I can carry you.
Yes.
Yeah. He's a saint.
It's like, loophole.
I also like just having them together because they're both hobbits, you know what I mean? So every time I look at Frodo and Sam, like they're similar enough where having them together, you can see what is the difference between the toll the journey has caused and the toll the ring has caused, because the gap between these two is like immense. Because Sam, like, he's tired and he's a little, you can tell he's a little fed up and
he's
stuff.
Still a person though.
He's a person and he can just keep going. And Frodo is just like ready to drop dead any second.
Frodo's a strung out heroin addict.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Like, that's what it seems like the whole time.
Without Sam there, you can't see like, look how much of it is just the ring and not the year-long mountain hike.
I feel like we also do forget that he recently had a pretty bad stab wound that like they did their best to patch up, but that was after like 5 days of this poison in his body too. So that's definitely
they do a pretty good job of like reminding you of that when they take his mithril shirt and he's in the tower and you're like, oh wow, that wound is not healed.
That's not great. That is not great.
There's a couple times they mention it in this one.
Yeah, and when the Witch King flies away and he's like, I can feel his blade.
Yes. Yeah.
And just to like think about how much of a toll the ring puts on someone. It was enough where Gandalf, who's not even human, was like, get that away from me. I don't even want it anywhere near me. And then you got this little hobbit that the most adventurous thing he did was probably go pick berries like, I don't know, half a mile away. And now he's like, all right, now you're going to carry this.
Yeah, that's why Frodo's his stuff that is the most interesting, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. Frodo's a great character.
And honestly, after Frodo and Sam, the people I care about most next is probably Merry and Pippin.
Pippin
They got a lot
Pippin
to
got to
do.
come
They
back.
got a lot to do in this movie.
Pippin
Yes.
redeemed himself.
Yeah,
That's what I was saying in the first
I
one. It's
knew he
like
was
Pippin really is quite a problem, especially in the first movie.
Yeah, like
But-
honestly, in the first one, he was such a problem that I was like, either you have to like kill this dude off or redeem him. You can't just have him be this way the whole movie and be like, okay, the end.
It's like, I
Peace
know-
out.
Yeah, some people are just shitty.
Like eventually the other guys had to be like, I know Pippin's your friend, but we have to send him back because he's actively endangering us everywhere we go.
Yeah, so I knew he would be redeemed, but it was still like really cool to see it happen. And even Merry Merry didn't really need to be redeemed. You know what I mean? He was fine through the whole thing, but giving him his like, I don't know. I really like both
They
of
get
them.
cool shit.
They got a lot of shit to do.
He is no man, so he gets to help kill the Witch King.
Did you recognize it from the RuneScape quest?
I've heard that like a bunch of times like that. So I was curious, like, oh, is this where it came from, or did this like?
I
What
wasn't
quest?
sure too. There's the one where you have to change your gender to fight the White Knight because I'm no man.
That's okay.
I never made that connection.
Yeah, I know people with like a T-shirt that says that with like Eowyn on it and stuff. So it's a big deal for a lot of people. Cool. Oh, man, it's just such a good movie. We've mentioned a lot of stuff from all over the place, but
Yes, I don't know what direction to go with this movie.
We went really chronological with Fellowship, and I feel like we did a good job with that, especially with Helm's Deep in the second episode. But you know, this one does kind of jump around a lot just to set up the Minas Tirith fight and Frodo and Sam meeting Shelob is sort of the two things that's setting up right in the middle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fun fact, do you know where that library in the first movie that Gandalf went to was located?
Is that Minas Tirith?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he's just been they compress a lot of timelines, I know, in the movies.
I just found that out the other day from our group chat I have. It was like one of the questions that was tossed in there, and I was like, honestly, I have no idea. And like, yeah, it was Minas Tirith. Like, Gandalf rode on a horse very far
Mhm.
just to like go to the library and look at these like works that people thought were fiction.
Yeah, just to unfurl a scroll that says the ring's bad. Uh-oh. I gotta get back to the Shire.
I know Pippin fucks up a lot in this, but what the fuck was he thinking touching the orb?
He just wanted to touch the orb.
Like,
Shiny
what?
rock.
It's like the big red button thing. You know it's not going to be good,
Yeah.
but you're going to not push it.
And
That's why they put those in escape rooms. Every time it's bad, but you can't not push it.
Yeah.
I assumed it was like kind of like the ring where it has like a little bit of its own sentience kind of thing. It can like, come on, touch.
Yeah, I think
touch me.
that's what it is.
It could have
Rub-
really
rub my
said that,
ball
and he
a
would
little
have been like, touched it.
As I think he sees it once for half a second, and it has like the music that plays when someone looks at the ring. So I
Yes.
think it's similar vibe.
That's what I figured.
I think that's actually in the Two Towers, the Palantir subplot. But you know, they moved it around. It happens at Edoras instead here.
Oh, gotcha. In the books, yeah.
But yeah, it's not a good orb. It's a bad orb.
It's a bad orb.
But it splits up Merry and Pippin. And you know, the Rohan people, good job. I really like Theoden. He's awesome.
He is awesome. I was like kind of sad that he gets killed in the end.
I think he wanted to though.
Spoiler.
Between Two Towers and this movie, every pep talk, every pump up speech he gives before battle is about how hard they're all going to die.
Yes.
So,
That's like everybody's pep
That is
talk, so-
battle.
yeah, the Aragorn's is like, but it's not this day. and
His speech
stuff.
is really good, yeah.
Even though his has a tone of we're going to die, but men in general are going to be okay.
Well, yeah, because
Theoden's is all we're going to go die real hard.
yeah, well, Aragorn's is like, yeah, this is a suicide mission. We are just buying time. Live as long as you can, then die.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Or else everyone you know and love will be dead.
Yeah. But yeah, I love Theoden. At first he's like, we shouldn't go help them. And then the beacons are lit and he's like, yeah, we're going to go help them. Everyone's
I
"Yeah,
like
let's
that
go."
every king figure is just like, we can't ask for help. we're not doing that. We're not.
They're stubborn dads.
Yes, they didn't want to ask for help in the Battle of Helm's Deep.
Yep.
And then in this one, I forget the steward's name.
Denethor.
Denethor is like, no, we're not asking for help. And he's like, Pippin, go like that stupid file.
And like they were saying, Rohan, you should just go help preemptively. And they're like, well, they didn't help us for Helm's Deep. And it's like, you didn't ask them for help for Helm's Deep.
Yeah, you specifically were told to and chose not to ask them.
And now you're like, well, they didn't help me. It's like, what the fuck? You just wanted them to
Might not
show
have
up.
known about it. It was a one-day event, and they were several days away.
Yeah, you didn't ask for help. But I did like the stuff with the ghost is kind of cool too. I like that he
Kind of cool.
I like that he just goes through this mountain. And he's like, yeah, there's gonna be some ghosts in there. You can ask them for help. They owe you.
We're camping up by a scary mountain. Nobody go up there. 15 minutes later, all right, I'm going to the scary mountain. And they're all like, what the fuck?
Love when
What's he
Legolas.
doing? It's
Like,
like,
we
I don't
just
know.
specifically told him, don't go in there.
I forget what he says. But
Immediately
when
goes.
Legolas goes in the cave and Gimli's like, an elf going into underground when a dwarf's afraid. No.
Yeah. I'd never hear the end of it.
Yeah,
Everybody
I'll
runs
never
in.
hear the end of this.
That's the one thing that I feel like, because of the Avengers approach of how much it has to pop around and give everyone only a little bit of time, I feel like you do miss out on. Yeah, I just always want more time with those three guys.
Yeah, they
There's some good Gimli lines. I don't.
It's not that they
Watching the movie and then seeing Orlando Bloom build like 8th or 9th, it's like he might only have like 4 lines in this movie.
it's not that they don't have a lot to do, but a lot of what they have to do is them fighting.
Yeah,
It just scenes of them
that's-
fighting.
Yeah, you don't get the hangout.
And then, you don't get the hangout vibe. You don't get a lot of dialogue with them. So they're there, but not in the speaking capacity that they are in the other 2 movies, which I think is why I'm more interested in like Frodo and Sam in this movie too.
Yeah, they're the ones having conversations and
Yeah.
There's
talking
definitely
about the real
opportunity
shit.
for more like development of that relationship. But when you already have 4 hours of a movie extended, you can't really.
The other thing too is you get away with a lot because we already spent 7 hours with them
Yeah, true.
in 2 movies previously. So like
That's fair.
I feel like I totally know these 3
True.
characters already.
Yes. Yeah, it's not like a criticism. It's just like, those are my friends and I want to hang out with them more.
Yep.
My friends are really busy this movie. They didn't have as much
But
time
yeah.
to hang out with me.
But yeah, this is, we're a little bit going past the scene where they're at the war camp, which of course they set up right at that weird crevasse that goes into the ghosts mountain.
Don't go in there.
Was this the only spot to
Yeah.
camp?
Well, why'd we sit up right in front of the crevasse? I don't know. But yeah, Elrond comes with Andúril, made from the shards of Narsil.
Yes, the sword.
Wow. Good sword. Flame of the West.
It is a
The
cool
sword that was broken. Yeah. Good sword.
I
Cool to get a replica of that.
It's a good sword.
You can. I bought Will a sword once, and I didn't buy him that one because I didn't know what it was. I got him Gandalf's sword instead, which is still
That's
cool.
a cool. It's still really cool.
But I probably would have got him that one instead
Yeah.
if I had known how to
Yeah.
watch the movies.
Any sword that's called something like the Flame of the West, you're like, ooh, that's the one I want.
That's the sword I want.
Not only is it called something cool, literally no one besides this guy can physically use it. Good shit.
And you can fight ghosts with it.
And you can fight ghosts with it. That ghost is so shocked when he parries him.
He is so shocked.
It's like, whoa.
$200 and you can get it with a wall mount.
Okay. If you're a collector, that's probably not that bad of a
I'm not a
price.
collector, but
Still not that bad.
But I've got walls.
I have 4 walls.
Okay,
some
we're
walls.
gonna take a little pause, do a merchandise spotlight.
Yeah.
If you guys want to sponsor us,
Yeah, what's another $200 in the hole for this podcast?
I meant them, but yeah, sure, Ben. If you want to get the sword,
Yes.
even if it's for you, like if we could just play with it for a little
Yeah,
while.
we can play. If you would buy us a sword that we could play with.
For the
Um,
podcast.
Yeah. So it's a good sword, I guess was my point. I love the dead do not suffer the living to pass. The way is closed, the dead keep it. All that stuff's really great.
It is really cool.
And the kind of craziest thing, maybe not even crazy, but that's happens around right when the Minas Tirith fight starts. So he says at 126, you see Sauron's army marching on Minas Tirith. At 129, I hate doing timestamps, but this is just for this one point. At 129, he's saying, "What say you?" to the ghosts, and then those guys don't show up again until like
The end. Well,
2 hours and 9 minutes, so it's like 40-ish minutes.
yeah.
It's supposed to be a surprise because they basically told him to fuck off.
Yeah, but those guys are not involved for like 40 minutes of this movie.
Yeah, I was like just waiting because I knew they come. I
And
think
it's
most
almost
of
like, man, if those boats were a little faster, we could have avoided a lot of death.
a lot of that, yeah.
a lot of property damage too.
But yeah, I did like that whole battle at Minas Tirith too, because the way they do it, where it's just like, they're losing, and then like, Rohan shows up, they're winning, and then, all the rest of the force show up, they're losing. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. Unlike
Yeah, did you guys expect ghosts?
Yeah, they did not expect ghosts. The ghosts fuck shit up.
You're just like, all right, well, murder everything.
unlike the Helm's Deep fight where it's really jumping around between the three main things, this one is only interrupted twice, I think, by Sam. Well, first just Frodo in the Shelob's lair, and then you go back to Minas Tirith for a little bit, and then it's Sam fighting off Shelob at the end of it. But then the rest of it is just all and then after that happens, it's like 20-ish straight minutes of Minas Tirith.
Knew it was coming, but man, it was crushing when Frodo tells Sam to leave, especially too when Gollum's taking the crumbs off him. I'm like, well, this is a little insulting.
What's this?
Yeah.
Well, looky here.
Yeah.
The fat one ate all the bread.
Yeah, he says the fat one ate all the bread. My favorite part is that what convinces Sam to turn around is when he finds the bread. He's like, oh, I didn't eat the bread. Well, yeah, of course you didn't, Sam.
What did you think happened to the bread, man?
I also like how they like are just like eating large amounts of the bread when they could just take one bite and it fills you.
They only nibble at the bread.
Wasn't there like parts where like they were eating entire? Like,
I think I saw
Sam
he'll
gave
take
him
it out-
like
he-
a big chunk, and
He
was
takes
like,
off like a corner of
okay.
it.
It might have been the other.
It was like
crew.
magically bread, like or
Yeah.
really dense, because they never eat a lot of it. And
Yeah.
yeah, and I do like as I think it might have been at the end of the Two Towers, but I think it's early in this when they're like, once they start like just mentioning like, yeah, we don't have food to come back anyway, or like we don't have enough supplies to go back. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, that's
they don't really
crushing.
yeah, they don't really like finalize it in this one until like I think they're like almost at Mount Doom when they're
Yes.
like it's a one-way trip. Like they
definitely already knew that, but that's the first time they vocalize it. Because you're right.
Yes.
The first scene, it's where the first scene, even before the title comes up, is where Gollum's like, "Wake up, sleepies!" But then Sam says to Frodo, like, "Oh yeah, so I've rationed it, so we'll have some for the return trip." And you see it play across Frodo's face, like, "Oh, he's
Yeah.
kind of like touched that Sam's still optimistic, but he also knows like there ain't no return trip."
yes, he's aware already.
But then it's with the water when they're almost at Mount Doom, where he's like, "Oh, we're not gonna have enough for the return trip." Sam's like, "There's no return trip, Mr. Frodo.
yeah.
We both know this is it."
Yeah. And Frodo's never like, just Frodo's fine, Sam. It's been a long trip.
I've literally spent more time with you than anyone I've ever known. So you know, it would have been
yeah,
a crazy alternate ending if Sam had to pick up Frodo and throw him into the mountain.
I was thinking like so
Right?
I
Like,
knew
it's not that far off.
I don't want to I guess we're
No,
just
yeah.
gonna
It's not that far off.
I knew what happens with Gollum and stuff, but in my mind it was like if Gollum didn't stop in, does Sam push Frodo into the lava? Right? That's the
You have to at that point.
I think he would have had to.
I think he would have done
I
it.
think
Too.
he would have pushed him. I think he would have grabbed him and went in with him.
Yeah,
That's
actually,
good. Yeah,
that's
that's
way
smart.
more accurate. That's what would have
Yeah.
happened. He would have
'Cause
been
you
like,
know-
you know what?
You know, Gandalf's not sending the Eagles for just Sam.
For true.
Sam is the last one who comes in the group hug scene in the end, and I thought he was. I was like, "What the fuck, Sam? Just leaving the like."
Sam's like, I am going fucking home.
Oh.
Sam's like, oh, what about that fat man comment again, huh?
Yeah, but I do like how they kind of keep teasing at it and like not like
Yeah.
dancing around it, even though like you can kind of see it on their faces.
Yeah, I love that you never for a minute doubt that they know that, but it's nice that they, it doesn't hold your hand.
Exactly, yeah.
Even though it's clear.
Yeah, it's really really good.
So yeah,
But
the Shelob stuff. What'd you think about that? Are you you like spiders? You not cool with spiders?
I don't mind spiders. I don't care.
I hate spiders so much.
I like that a lot. Like I said, so I was crushed once Sam left. You know what I mean? And as soon as he got to Shelob, I knew it was a spider because someone had mentioned there were spiders, and there was almost at the end, there was no spiders.
Spoiler alert.
And I forget the way they talk about her is like very typical how they talk about spider queens in like video games and things like that.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the verbiage they use. So I knew it was going to be a big spider, but as soon as he gets into like her lair and loses Gollum, I'm like, oh man, please fucking just leave. What are you doing? You know what I mean? Because like I'm like, Frodo can't fucking fight a big ass spider, especially right now of every time. He's barely walking. You know what I mean?
And just to call out, when he first looks into her lair, there's another pull zoom that I know we like to call out. They're from Jaws and Poltergeist, and where it's like they're moving the camera back while zooming in or whatever.
What's it called? It's named after the first dude to make it.
Oh, I don't
to
know.
do it. There's there's a term for it. I'm totally
but
forgetting. But
it's one of those that I know we've seen a few times on this podcast.
But I think the Shelob layer was one of the more effective times where they were like, Frodo's gonna die. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of scenes throughout the 3 movies like he's done for, and like Frodo's not gonna die. But this is the one where I was like kind of concerned for Frodo, even though once I knew he wasn't gonna die. But out of all of them, this was the one that I was most concerned for him, because it was like it's just horrible to watch the way the spider's like hunting him down and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
And because he's like,
when he gets caught in the web and
he gets caught in the
singing.
Yes. Oh, it's horrible. And it's like because he's barely getting away as he keeps like pulling out weapons, and he finally uses the star or
They've
whatever
been
they call
building
it.
up for 2 movies, and then it's like
A light bulb.
pretty minorly effective.
a very shiny light bulb.
So I assumed it was very effective because they mentioned
they kept Shelob back. That's true.
They mentioned that Shelob just like devours the orcs and goblins constantly, and I was like, I was like, okay, so she's eating like many orcs and goblins, and I was like, I don't think Frodo could fight an orc or goblin, and he's fighting her. So I was like, so it's doing something very helpful, apparently. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
That's
applying
fair.
a debuff. You think?
That's what I assumed it was just applying a debuff. You know what I mean?
Because I watched it in glorious 4K on my TV off of disc and not streaming. I don't think I've ever picked this up before, but every time he holds the light up to it, it's actually like covering its eyes. So I think it's just completely it lives in a dark tunnel, right? And if it goes outside, it's only in Mordor, so it's not real. It's always dark. So I think he's effectively blinding it anytime.
That's a good debuff. Blind is always a good
Property
debuff.
value in Mordor must be so cheap.
Oh my god!
Not right now.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, true.
Ever since the tower fell.
Right now,
Well, no, I just meant in this economy.
they'd be pitching it like, oh, beautiful weather, heat coming from the mountain.
So I know it's a collapsed tower that used to have a haunted eye in it.
the
A
eye's
little
gone.
repair. We're looking for $2 million for this. I know the neighborhood's not great, but
I mean, it's a whole tower, though. Well,
I'll
the
give you
base of a whole
2.5.
tower.
and I know that's asking a lot with the 12% interest rates right now.
Jeez.
You
Yeah.
can rent out the basement.
So I think that the Shelob sequence is really good, and it's one of the times where you most feel that they're, even if it hasn't come a huge amount of way, they're a lot more confident with the CGI in this one. I feel like with Gollum, they're doing a lot more interaction directly with the actors, and with Shelob too.
CGI is really good.
I never question that Shelob looks fake. I don't think it does at all. It looks awesome.
I think Shelob looked really, really good. I did not have any complaints watching it and being like,
Yeah.
oh, this is old CGI.
It's great. It's like 20 years old.
Sometimes when you watch older movies, it doesn't look great, but you're like, oh, this is an old movie. What do you expect, kind of thing? And it doesn't detract in my opinion anyway. But this one, I didn't even think it didn't even give me an indication that like, oh, this is a 20-year-old movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it was a very good job.
And when I say a lot more confident, I mean, I feel like there's a lot more scenes where they actually have Billy Boyd and Dominic Monaghan, Merry and Pippin, actually like you see them interacting with full-size people, and they always have like a slight like light halo around them, because obviously this is like interlaced scene work or whatever. But I feel like in the first 2 movies they avoided those scenes as much as they could, but it seems like they're doing them a lot in this one.
Mm-hmm.
So it just seems like they were a lot more confident in their ability to pull that off this time.
If they were, though, that's kind of crazy because they filmed it at the same time. So they must have been like, yeah, well, we can't do it for the stuff for the first. We'll be able to do it, but yeah, just go for it. We'll be able to do it by the time we get there.
We'll figure it out.
Any, like insight on that, but just like we've talked about before, they filmed at the same time, so they had 2 more years to work on post production for this movie than they did for Fellowship. So,
Well, you guys got 2 years to figure this out, or we lost a lot of money.
Right. or we'll just cut out that 1 minute and substitute with the 50 other minutes that we fully produced for this movie.
Yes.
Anyway, so all that to say, I think that sequence is really effective. And if Shelob looked terrible, like floaty CGI, I wouldn't.
If I were Frodo, I would have touched one spider web and would have been done.
He goes, "Why is
like,
it sticky?" And it's like, I don't know.
Her
Frodo.
lair was kind of like a mess. So I was like, maybe he's immediately lost was my one thing that I
Yeah.
thought. It's probably dark.
I think once he loses track of like the opening entrance, he's probably has no idea where he is.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But yeah, I like that scene. I like, obviously when Sam comes to save him and he gets stabbed and all webbed up. I was like, oh my God. Because I didn't know any of that was going to happen. I was like, what the fuck are they going to do now? I was like, I assumed that Sam was going to like cut him out and wake him up. But when Sam is like, immediately assumes he's dead, I'm like, oh, what the fuck's going to happen now? You know what I mean? I was like, Sam's not just going to carry him. You know what I mean?
I thought he was going to have to like drink the liquid. Like that was going to be
that's what I thought.
Yeah. Yeah, I was
Like
thinking
pour
that
it on
too.
the wound or something, like a health potion.
Yeah, something like that.
I was also sad that like Sting was gone and the thing, and then Sam runs out with both of them. You know what I mean? The Star and Sting. I was like, yeah,
Good job, Sam. Sam the Slayer coming through.
I didn't even think about the ring. Like even rewatching it this time, like I forgot that Sam also took the ring off of him. I like how they didn't show that. Like
I really like it because I was like, oh my God, they're so fucked once he got to the tower. You know what I mean?
it's like, well, now they have the ring. But
Before we get there though, I was I also really like, I think right around the same time they're leaving their camp. That Theoden, it tells Merry he can't come.
Yeah. Well, so the fight at Minas Tirith is over before we get to Sam attacking the tower to save Frodo.
Yeah,
so that all happens before that for
Yes.
sure.
But
and Eowyn just scoops him up.
yeah, and everyone just grabs him. You know what I mean?
So yeah, let's shift over. We've talked about Shelob. Let's shift over to Minas Tirith fight, and I get.
Oh yeah, it's so crazy to me
There's no
that
one there.
whole relationship is just not in the regular movie.
Sorry.
it was just a super random scene.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
to me, yeah, like I just assumed that whole like relationship extended scene was in the regular movie, and now it's like,
with Eowyn and Faramir.
yeah, you just can't
that
like
happens
unknow
later.
it
Yeah.
now.
No, you can't. Well, I mean, they're together at the end. It doesn't put an explicit point on it, but they're standing
Yeah.
next to each other and smiling at his coronation, right?
I mean, yeah, so is Sam and Frodo, but
Oh yeah. So
They are also
Pippin
together.
True.
sings while Faramir rides to his almost death. The Pippin song always really like ooh. We didn't mention the lighting of the beacons either. That's a cool scene.
that is.
Yeah, I
Not
really,
to jump around too far back, but it's a good scene.
It is. I really like it too because like I assume that's how you would do something like that at the time. But Pippin just lights one, and they're like, "Oh my God!" And they see the other one light, and like, "Oh, there's."
There's another.
it is out of our head.
Once the fires lit, they'd have to have like a second like never mind fire next to it.
Or
that
you
they
throw
could
like
light.
copper in it so it turns a different color or something. Like, oh, JK. Like,
This is just
Oh, that would
this is a
probably be
test.
smart, right? To change
Yeah,
the
yeah,
color of the flame.
And I don't know if it's a historical fact or if I'm just basing this off of Mulan, but it seems like something they did. Well, the
Which
Great
is
Wall of China historically. Like I can't imagine both movies made that up. It seems like something
no,
that
I've
must have
seen it
actually
elsewhere
happened.
too. I think that's like
it's a signal fire's a
common-
thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Common thing that happened.
Yeah, I mean, how else would you have talked to these places?
I also wonder.
I wanna
if-
say
Now we use
birds?
cell phones.
Yeah,
What's become of this society?
I like too. They just show. They're like, how about a minute or two of beautiful landscapes, and then just off in the background in a random spot, you just see a little fire pop up, and then one more, and then they cut to another beautiful like landscape and a little fire, and I was like, oh, it's like I don't know, I really enjoyed
It's really
that.
satisfying to just like it shows you a mountain. You're like, oh, I bet a big fire's gonna pop up over there.
Yeah.
You're right. That's a really cool scene. And yeah, Theoden's like, let's do it.
Gives you a good idea of like how far they traveled too. Like they got that
Yes.
message like hundreds of miles in 3 minutes.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, we already talked about like the camp and the sword and the going into the mountain. So we already said that part, but whatever.
Yeah, I just really like when Mary gets like scooped up because he looks so sad that he's getting left behind, and then
I want to fight. I want to help my friends.
yeah, and then it's nice because Eowyn is in like exactly the same boat basically, so
Yeah.
it works really well that they like pair up.
Yeah, it does. And they head off to Minas Tirith, where the fight's basically already begun. And Denethor is not helping.
No, he sucks so bad.
He's the worst.
He's going, run for your lives.
And at this point, he's almost kkilled Faramir, right? Because Faramir doesn't do much in this movie. And
Yeah, he's sent him to like basically die.
Yeah. What was that city? Did they say the name of it?
Osgiliath.
Osgiliath, yeah.
Yep.
Because he's at Osgiliath, gets ran off.
That's where
and
we
he's
last saw him in Two Towers.
Yes. And he's like, go back to Osgiliath. And he's like, that's a bad idea.
It's like, well, then die.
Yeah.
Bitch.
And he's like, well, I'm sorry. It's clear that you would have rather my brother live and I died. And
Yeah,
then
why
Thor's
does he like?
Yup.
They never not super clear. He just likes Boromir way better than Faramir, huh?
Yeah, he mentioned.
That's weird because we don't.
Well, he
JK.
liked him
I
more
like
for the
Boromir.
reasons we didn't like him. He wanted him to steal the ring, and
Yes.
we did not want him to steal the ring.
No.
Yeah. Yes. He liked Boromir for the edges that Boromir sanded off throughout Fellowship of the Ring.
Yes. Like, oh, I miss my old shitty son, Boromir.
At least he did what,
Well, he
what
was
I
gone
told him
either
to do.
way. That version of him wasn't coming back either way.
I do like all the scenes between Pippin and Denethor, though.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like him singing to him pledging
Just
allegiance to him,
grossly eating chicken and berries.
grossly eating chicken. No, I don't know, because I feel like that's where a lot of Pippin's redemption arc is.
You should cut in
Yeah.
Minas
the
Tirith.
audio from the chicken eating.
Oh no.
Honestly, like basically his whole redemption is in Minas Tirith, because the last thing he does before that is touch the orb and fuck up again. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah, it's entirely here.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I guess in Two Towers when he's pelting rocks at the
That's true.
orcs.
I think so. Yeah, Denethor does the run for your lives and abandon your post thing, and Gandalf sends him to horny jail with the bonk. And I just love that. It's like the music's building up, and he's like all this doom and gloom, and then the music cuts out right when he bonks him.
Yes.
It's like, all right,
Bonk,
nobody listen to
bonk.
that moron. Listen to the wizard.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, listen
Okay.
to
I
the
just love it. Like, okay, so this
I
has
think
been
it's
like,
okay
I'm
to
a
intervene.
demigod, just listen to me.
I'll intervene on this time.
yeah, it's funny. You guys have been talking about how like he's just sort of like trying to shape or massage events. He's not really directly interceding, but he eventually is just like, okay, fuck this.
There's a couple of
all
times
right.
where he's like, this is obnoxious.
I'm taking direct command of the defense of this city, and I'm telling you guys what to do.
Because this guy sucks.
Yeah.
Really bad.
So
Which
bad.
thought-
Isn't him using his like powers to do anything? Just,
No, it's just-
his influence.
Right, yeah, exactly. And
Just the top end
basic
of his
common
staff.
sense. Like, don't not run away. Stay where you are and fight.
Run where?
Yes.
You're gonna die.
We're
either
totally
way.
surrounded. Where are you running?
Like, what is the? It's like, I don't know. You can have like a couple extra hours of being alive. Like, that's your honest answer.
it is nice to see him like directly get into like swinging around the
Commander.
staff mode and
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, for sure.
he's real cool once he starts battling.
Carrying on conversation with Pippin while fighting off waves of enemies.
Yeah, I really, because that's when he tells Pippin like, "You're useless here." Kind of
Please go away.
go away, and then Pippin saves him from some random orc or
Defender
something.
of the Citadel, indeed.
Yes.
And this is where Denethor starts trying to murder Faramir and himself.
Yes, there's a lot of time of him just
By
trying to murder
fire.
Faramir and Pippin being like, "Don't murder him. He's very clearly alive." And he's like, "I don't know what you're talking about."
I'm not quite dead yet.
Basically, from the scene of Denethor throwing Pippin out of the funeral to the end of the fight, it doesn't cut away from Minas Tirith. It's very cool. Where everyone, all our friends make it there and they win and shit. But yeah, so there's a number of really cool moments in this fight. And it has the added sort of drama of also one of the characters is trying to murder one of the other characters.
Yes.
And Pippin's trying to tell someone important that can maybe go stop it.
When
Yes.
that was happening too, I was like, all right, I really want Faramir to be okay. But on the other hand, like Pippin just ran up and he's like, hey, Gandalf, you know how you're like protecting the whole city and you're the only one with like your shit together? I kind of need you to go back and deal with this other shithead again because he's trying to kill one dude. It's like, fuck, I guess I have to. You guys got this? Okay, bye.
Yeah.
But like he was the only one that could do that, I guess, where the other people could stay and fight. So it was
Yeah, and you think maybe he's thinking like in terms of it's important to not have this house end for stability's sake.
that's fair.
And once Aragorn's back, he needs Like, it's important to have a steward, I guess. I guess that's what Faramir is now.
I didn't super. I assume Faramir would be fine, but I didn't super care either way because like it's Faramir.
The good brother already died.
I guess you let Frodo go, but after you took him, so like
You're at a
Yes.
neutral, buddy.
you're
He's-
only neutral right now, man.
He's cooler in the books. He's where we talked about this in Two Towers because it's more pertinent to that, but he's more helpful and
Because he's pretty minor in these movies. I know. I
He's
think you
pretty
guys said
minor,
in extended he gets a little more, but in this it's just like him taking Frodo, him letting Frodo go in the Two Towers, and then him fleeing.
we only
Osgiliath.
see him lose battles pretty
We
much.
only see him lose battles, and then him come back almost dead on a horse.
Yeah, pretty much.
And that's like the extent to him in this movie. And then it's just
in
him laying.
In Denethor's defense, Boromir would have been is clearly a better fighter.
I guess that is why he likes Boromir. Boromir's, yeah, God,
He was the better son.
yeah,
He's
was the
just the better dude all around.
yeah. Between the two characters, if I had to pick one, I would pick Boromir.
He's
Yeah,
like his father.
yeah. Faramir does get kind of short shrift in these movies, but someone has to. They can't be 7 hours long each.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, but the Ministerial fight I love. It's great.
Yeah, I love when what is the Witch King
Yeah, the Witch King of Angmar.
of Agmar? First of all, nerdiest name ever, but I love it. It reminds me of Magic the Gathering cards. Whenever there's a comma, it's like Witch King and then of some crazy thing.
Right,
I'm always
yeah.
like, whoa. But
So he says like, "I'll take care of the wizard."
yes, so that's what I was gonna say. Is he says something about how he's gonna defeat Gandalf, and I'm like, whoa, you know what I mean? And I think Gandalf says something about him in like a kind of scared kind of like way at some point, like, well, fuck, this guy's here kind of thing.
Yeah,
I don't know where he says, but he says something to Pippin about like this is bad news. You know what I mean?
Also, how many Witch Kings are there where he has to be of somewhere? Like, oh,
can't
wait,
just be the Witch
hold on. Which Witch King are you?
of Angmar. Oh fuck.
Oh, okay.
Of
The Witch King
Westerly.
of blah blah. I wouldn't have been afraid at all.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so
There's I think there is a scene where they like confront each other in extended, but not in theatrical.
oh yeah, because they don't even confront each other. So that's the other
Yeah.
thing
I
too
thought they
is
fought.
Oh
in
yeah,
the in the
oh.
extended version.
Oh, the Witch King explodes his staff. Like they start to fight, and the Witch King like just shoots magic or whatever. His staff blows up, and he's about to like cut his head off. And then I think something happens with the eye sees something
Yeah.
and calls him back immediately.
oh yeah, so they don't even fight in this one. So
Yeah.
I wasn't like totally sure.
Weird
like,
choice there. Cut that out.
Yeah, probably.
I didn't think it needed it because the other thing
You
too
don't
is
notice it, but it is weird that they didn't also take out the part where he's like, "I'm specifically going to go fight."
Yeah,
the
it
wizard.
just doesn't seem like there was a lot of resolve there, like connection. Like they could
Well,
have
I
cut
don't-
out something else a
I
little
assume
bit.
they were
There's-
on their way, and then Rohan starts to like win, and then all
and then he
the
has to circle back to
the
the field
Nazgul
of
all
battle.
come down and start destroying them.
Okay, that's a good point because he does specifically go after Theoden. The
Yes.
Witch King does.
So I was just
yeah.
like, oh, they're on the Nazgul are on their way to Minas Tirith, and now they have to intervene in this battle.
Gotcha.
But I assumed
makes more
he
sense.
was gonna make it afterwards, so it was kind of nice because I didn't realize it right away that Eowyn was gonna kill him. So it was kind of cool when she does. You know what I mean?
I guess that makes more sense than like it's a better twist than knowing like they already had their confrontation.
Yeah.
Although it is kind of cool to know after the fact that like, oh, he would have really had a fucking problem. Like Gandalf might not have even been able to get out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I already was concerned about that because, like I said, he does say, I don't remember, I swear, he says something to Pippin about like, and he's concerned about this.
Well, when he's introing like Minas Morgul and stuff, he's talking about like, they
Yes.
say no one can kill this guy.
That's what it is.
He's Sauron's greatest weapon. He's like the main dude that's going to command the armies.
Yes. And that's the first time they say no man can kill this guy.
Yeah.
Because they say it twice, him, and then the Witch King himself says it to Eowyn, I think.
Yes, you fool.
Does the Witch King have one of the rings?
He
Not
was.
anymore.
He's
yeah.
one of the 9.
Yeah, he's one of the 9.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right. He's one of the 9 kings.
I didn't realize that they they still have the rings throughout this like whole thing. Like the elves still have
Pretty
the rings.
sure.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
I just think that's.
I think in the books it's clear that like the rings are around. That's a much bigger deal.
Yeah, Elrond uses one to protect Rivendell. The other one uses it to protect the forest, and then Gandalf has one that you just never see.
Yeah.
This is not the ring.
No.
Yeah, it's just weird that like the word ring is in the name of the movie, but they don't really get too much into the rest of the other rings.
It's Lord of the
They
Rings.
mention it at the beginning, and then they're just like, all right.
But we're
Well,
really only
the-
going to talk about this one.
It's Lord of the Rings plural.
Yeah. Well, they're not. It's not. We're not talking about the rings. We're talking about the Lord.
Yeah, it's true. And the Lord has with the one ring rules all the rings and the darkness to bind them and all that shit.
But yeah,
you understand the rest of them if you know this one.
I really liked the whole scene with the Witch King though. Even though I didn't seem like Gandalf, him like almost killing Theoden and Eowyn and Mary coming to like save him, and just watching her fight him, I was like, oh my god, this sucks. He's big. He's got that huge like flail thing.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, she clearly gets her arm broken.
Yeah,
think.
things are not
she
going
has
well.
the shield, and the shield just shatters, and she's.
God
But
damn,
yeah,
what is that thing, like 40 pounds?
pulls the
Jesus
thing
Christ.
well, one of she has like a gender reveal party. I'm no man.
I am no man.
Right
yeah.
in the face.
Right in the face. It's awesome.
Right in the face. Before that, some of the Nazgul flying around. The verticality to the Minas Tirith half of the battle. There's like everyone in the fields, and with the Oliphants and the Rohan stuff and
I
stuff.
hate that fucking name so much.
But then like the verticality of Minas Tirith when the Nazgul are actually like flying around and like grabbing people and throwing them off of it's really cool. It's really gripping like stuff. It probably would have been really cool in
Every
IMAX.
time the Nazgul show up, I'm like, oh, this sucks so bad. What are you supposed to do about this?
I didn't plan for flying dragons.
We forgot to prepare the anti-air stuff again.
Oh yeah, I think that's one of the reasons I like the battle with the Witch King is when Eowyn like chops the thing's head off. It's so cool.
Pretty much immediately too.
He's so pissed.
He's like, all right, well, fuck this.
Yeah.
I'm so mad at you right now.
I don't know why she took her helmet off. It's probably a bad idea in the middle of a fight.
That was, I
She
guess,
had
the end. Just kind
Yeah.
of for
That's
her
because that's
and Mary.
literally right before she stabs him in the face.
Yeah.
Because that's when she tells him.
I mean, it makes the movie way cooler, but you probably shouldn't. You should wait a little while.
that's like
there's just like an orc with an arrow.
It's like a rule with movies. Every now and then you have to like, it doesn't make any sense, but it's going to be so much better for the movie.
Yeah.
And
I
it's
don't
way better. It would have been way worse if she didn't take the helmet off.
This is
and
way
just
more
slam.
badass.
I definitely don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, all of the Rohan stuff is always really cool. I love that they're just screaming death as they ride into battle.
Yes.
And they're just like a butter knife going through and really just turning half of the forces back. Those guys run real easy.
Yes. Yeah. I like that when they show up, a lot of the orcs or Urukai, I don't know who was at the battle, are like, they're scared. You know what I mean? They like, so that's really cool. I love that Theoden gives his speeches are good. You know what I mean? Where he's yelling at them all. But
We're about to die. Yay.
Death.
The resolve of those people is there.
They're just really hardcore. Those the raw rim.
Yes, because also that's after they've like won, basically the Oliphants show up, and I'm like, oh, that sucks. And Theoden's like, yeah, and they all run. I'm like, no, guys, let's let a new plan. No, I would have tried something different. You guys are on horses. That's an elephant.
They're giant. They're like 60
But
feet
they
tall.
like no fear. They just like, yes, we all run at the elephants.
It's like, what if we
Like,
shoot
it's just
it,
gonna step on half of
like
you.
1,000 times? Will that do anything?
Yep.
No, that's not going to do anything.
And around then is when the boats slowly roll in from the reinforcements that the orcs are expecting from the south.
I love that the ghosts still decide to pilot the boats. Like, I don't know if that was really necessary. Like, at least the one for
Well, we have 3 corporeal people with us, so I guess we need to take all these boats.
all of these boats.
Even though we clearly can just sort of glide
Yeah, the reveal-
up sheer rock faces.
The reveal was great, but I was just like, I really don't think they needed all those boats. There's
It
probably
is
some
a
wasted time there.
theatrical reveal just for the like 20 orcs that are at the top.
It is really cool too, because the ghosts don't come out right away. It's just the 3 of them jump out and start killing orcs and stuff like that, and then it's just like it's like a wave.
Yep. So you get the Gimli and Legolas counting again, and The great scene where he takes down the whole elephant, and then
And that's
love that
really
scene.
cool.
That still counts as one.
yeah,
I knew that's a
one.
meme.
Yeah,
That still
that's
only
like
counts as one.
it's so good. And, yeah, that scene's great. And it's like, they're kind of like showing off how he like surfs down its trunk as it's dying and shit. You're like, whatever, I'll allow it. You guys earned this.
Yeah.
Who was that for, Legolas?
Right,
You don't know.
who
You're
was
the-
that for? How is Gimli still able to see this happen? Because the thing's been running the whole time, and he's on foot. He shouldn't be able to still see this and be within earshot. But it doesn't matter. It's just cool. Way to go.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic.
It's
scene.
awesome.
No complaints. No
I don't know
notes.
what you're talking about. Nobody saw that.
Yeah, that whole battle's great.
And then the ghosts just sweep up the entire mountain pretty much, and it's over.
Yep.
I do love that they just have like this nearly invincible killing force, and Ghibli's like, "Hey, fuck them over." What? Did you?
Yeah, Gimli's like, first of all, I was like,
Here's
I feel
big
like,
picture.
yeah. I was like, first of all, do you even have the, what do you mean? So they did what they were supposed to do, but you have to like tell them you did a good job before they can
You
be.
did good, big.
Before they-
Yeah. Well, they recognize him as the king, and they need like a royal decree, I guess,
Yeah.
kind of thing. A proclamation.
How do you think these people would react if you were like, "Actually, I need you to go kill the rest of the orcs"? Like, no, we didn't even want to kill these orcs.
No, we're tired. It's like, what are you talking? It's like, wait, you guys are unkillable. Why don't you just? We have like one more battle. Do you guys want to? It's just right over.
Just
You can
one more
see it
battle.
from
Actually,
here.
you know what? Can one of you guys just take the ring
Yeah.
and go throw it out?
Actually, you guys can fly in pretty much. You want to take
Yeah.
this and just scoot up the mountain?
Literally, no one but me can stop you. So
It's one more battle. It's right around the corner. I know I just said this one, but like Gondor, it really needs this aid in like.
Yeah.
It's right
Honestly,
It's
we don't
just a
even
bunch
care
of
about this
fetch
battle.
quests.
Just go grab the ring.
And we're having fun here, but in case any Tolkien scholars are listening and you made it this far, I'm sure there's a reason. I'm sure it's like, well, once you get within Sauron's sight, he can like, do his own magic. So
Oh, I'm sure if they gave it to a ghost, they would just immediately be corrupted. And be
Right,
like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, I assumed they couldn't ask the ghosts did their things. If they asked the ghosts for any more, the ghosts would have fucking been so mad.
that too, yeah.
I don't think there was
Aragorn's
any-
a guy of his word.
Like Aragorn's sword could stop the ghost, and that's fine, but he can't stop the whole ghost army. Like if they just
Well,
decide
true,
to be
yeah.
pissed at him, like
They just kill everyone
they're
in
just
Gondor.
gonna just kill
Yeah,
everyone.
he can't literally. It would be the same as like, sure, he can make contact with them, but it's still like a couple thousand dudes converging on you.
Right,
Yeah.
it's just not gonna help.
Yeah, you can't like fireball from the sword and get rid of them all.
So once all that's like done, is that when Sam shows up at the tower,
Yes,
or when Frodo's in the tower and like,
pretty much. So the fight's over. Gandalf's like walking through the field, like, "Ooh, a lot of guys are dead," and then Sam goes to the tower. All the orcs kill themselves while he's walking over. To
when they're stripping Frodo down and they're taking like the mithril and stuff like that, and like he sees right away that he does not have the ring. I think most people, I was so convinced that the orcs fucking got the ring already.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this sucks. I thought it was going to be another situation kind of like where Faramir took them and backtracked them a bunch. I was like, oh my God, how, like they don't have any food left. You know what I mean? They're exhausted. I was like, how the fuck are they going to get this ring back? And yeah, it's real cool when they fight all their, start fighting each other. I assumed when Sam got there, all the orcs were going to be dead. It was going to be like one orc left. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The fact that it was not that case and Sam like battles his way past like not a ton of them, but like he fights a bunch of
More than you think
orcs.
Sam could
Yeah, there's
handle.
like
Yeah.
4 at least, right?
Yeah,
People
he
that
fights like
gets
4
to-
orcs. You know what I mean? And then he stabs that one in the end that's going after Frodo.
Mm.
If I stick you first.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, so cool. And then when
Good
Frodo was
stuff.
telling him like it's over, they got the ring. It's we lost. And he takes it out. I was like, oh my God.
Baller moves, Sam. Baller.
It's a
Such a
baller
reveal.
move. I always feel like situations like that where like, I don't know, I get it, but I feel like Frodo could be like a little bit less like, give me the ring, Sam. It's like, come on, you he's not trying to take the ring.
He could have.
doesn't
He
know.
could have ran off.
He's
with
like,
it.
he's so fucked
Right,
up
he
from the
didn't
ring.
have to.
He
He
could
didn't
have
have
just
to
let
come
you
here.
die. Like you're not needed to
Yeah, but
end
the
this
rings
movie.
just fucked up his head so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At this point,
That's
that-
true.
Come on,
it's like
that's your
drugs. It's like a
friend.
heroin.
He was
Yeah.
already to the point where he wasn't going to get rid of it, like he's already clearly very obsessed with it.
Yeah.
Oh no, yeah, I know. I just wish Frodo was like a little bit more charitable to Sam and not suspecting him.
No, but it's better this way too.
He'd be like,
Because Sam,
"Oh, good job, you got the ring. Hand it over. Come on."
when he acts like really poorly about it, and Sam gives it to him, Sam like has a look on his face like he's like, it's okay, that like he's not offended at all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I know.
And that just makes Sam's character so much better. That Sam is just like understands so much. Like this isn't Mr. Frodo. This is like
Shell.
some fucking
Shelby
ghoul.
and-
this is
Or
like a ghoul.
Hobbit.
Yeah. So from the point where Minas Tirith ends, it's still like an hour left in the movie. We get to the tower. Sam kills all the orcs that are remaining. And I always forget that they like go in disguise for a little bit here.
That's such a good idea.
Yeah.
There is that, and then they're just not the next time you see them, because I think there's another deleted scene from the theatrical version where they actually do have to like get through a line of marching orcs.
Yep.
Yeah, they start a fight.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, which is in the theatrical. You see them after the tower, and then they're in disguise. And then I think it cuts away and it cuts back, and they're just not in disguise anymore.
Yeah, so it like they're in disguise, looking at like the basically a huge camp of
Yes.
the army between them and Mount Doom, and they're like, they're like, we're not gonna be able to just walk through here with these disguises, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then the whole army leaves, and then you see them not in the disguise. I assume they're like, okay, well the army's gone. Let's not wear all this. Like it's heavy armor.
It's to the point where Frodo's so fucked up he can't even stand up straight without Sam helping him, and they get to a point where like they have to do an inspection, and he can't keep holding him, from like falling over from all the shit they put on. So it was pretty good to just see like how exhausted Frodo was at this point. And by the time you see them with like out the stuff on, he was like, all right, well, they're again going back to the like, there's no return trip. We can get rid of these pots and pans. We can get rid of everything. And then that's when you see them again.
Yeah, and I think that's the cutaway is them, the Fellowship people talking about, well, let's go create a diversion. So
Yes.
I think
Yeah,
your
it
brain
works
just feels like,
well.
oh, the army went to meet them at the
Yes, exactly. I really
So
like
it's not
that
that big a deal,
that-
but it is a fun scene.
because that's something I never would have guessed. I assumed, like from what I was assuming, it was like Battle of Minas Tirith. They bring the ring, they drop it in Mount Doom, probably when that battle ends. Like it'll line up. The fact that it ends and they're like, I don't remember why, but they realize that like they're not gonna make it. Like there's no way they're not gonna make it. Like we need to buy them something. And they're like, let's just take all our forces, and maybe we can buy them like 2 hours.
Yeah, and in the movie, that feels like it's later that day after the Minas Tirith fight that they go to the Black Gate, but I think it's much later.
Yeah.
But that's just how the movie makes it feel, because Sam and Frodo have been walking the whole time.
Yes.
Yeah, it's hard to get a good grasp of like how Mordor would be set up until they show you like a piece at a time. Like I feel like you always think the mountain is just the next step. And then there's always like, there's like 5 or 6 moments where it's like, oh my God, there's another thing they have to deal with. I did not plan for that.
You're like, okay, they're climbing uphill. This must be Mount Doom. And then they're like, no, there's a few valleys and peaks between us and Mount Doom still.
Yes.
Like, oh, why didn't you guys take a low road? Why do you keep climbing a mountain for no reason?
So I swear to God, you've climbed 6 mountains and you're no closer to the one you need
It's
to
like,
get
I
to.
understand going in a straight line, but maybe if you just stay low around these mountains, I don't know.
Something.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
them
that's
going
good.
is awesome.
It's cool.
It's so cool. Like it's like, I don't know. It's just like, I love these guys. These are all my buddies, and it was so nice of them. They didn't have to do that.
Well,
You
they
know what I
did.
mean? Because they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did.
They did have to.
But they would have anyway.
Yeah.
You
There's a
get
good
that
sense.
feeling.
They're like, okay, we fought him off, but he's just going to regroup and come back. Clearly, he's not dead yet, but clearly he's not back yet. So we probably need to go buy them more time.
Yeah, I forgot why they come up with the they basically are like they're not going to be able to do it. Like there's no way. There's too many people at Mount Doom. They're not gonna. There's no way they can get to Mount Doom,
Yeah.
and that's why they like make that diversion.
It's a good diversion.
It's also cool because like it's kind of scary because when they walk up to the Black Gate, their army's not that big. And the last time you saw the Black Gate, there were so many people at it. So like, and there's like all those trolls that operate the gate last
I was
time.
gonna say, like, right off the bat, you have like 16 trolls just doing like maintenance. Like, that's a big problem.
So like waiting for the gate to open, and then the whole time I'm wondering, like, did the army actually move? And they said like, oh, Sauron's gonna know that this is like, he might know this is a diversion. So I'm like, oh my god, is Frodo and Sam gonna have like, is this just gonna be like a temporary solution? Like, so it was really, really cool waiting to see that happening. And I think this is the same time like you finally see that they're gone and Frodo and Sam are actually climbing Mount Doom now, and that's like so awesome when they're finally like, you're like, they're at the mountain.
It's the right mountain.
And right when you're like, yes, they're finally there, they see the opening, that's when Gollum jumps from the top rope.
I got so mad the first time I saw that. I was just like, son of a bitch, Gollum.
This
Like, come on.
motherfucker's back again.
Yes, I
You should have killed him. Should have killed him on the mountain.
Yeah, and I love like how just you've been talking about how just fucked up Frodo is at this point. That Sam and Gollum are fighting, then Sam looks up and Frodo's just making a mad dash for it.
Yeah, because so
like, oh, this is literally the last energy he has left. probably.
Sam was already carried him at this point too, because
Yeah.
Gollum attacks him, I think, while Sam's carrying him, and I
Yes.
do love that when he finally collapses. I can carry you.
Yeah, that's a great scene.
It was heartwarming.
Oh, it's so good.
So Sean Astin really kills that scene.
So like,
so good.
he's so good.
The rest of the crew is surrounded at this point, right? They're in
They've
a
been
circle.
surrounded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
And Aragorn's
armies of
giving his-
Mordor take a while to get out around them.
because they know like there's so many they can't lose, especially once they surround them.
It's a good thing they didn't have like catapults or any other defensive systems, because they really just went right up to
Just
the like
one thing.
Aragorn's speech is really, really good.
Yes.
That day is not today.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love that speech so
It's
much.
so good. It's nice that he
Yes.
does something like that, because I feel like I've been waiting for him to give a speech like that for like 2 movies now.
Yeah.
You gotta step up and be king, man. You can't
Exactly.
just do it all of a sudden.
You know what I mean? You know, like he's waiting to like he's gonna be king at the end of this, so I'm waiting for him to give like a big speech.
I don't know if it's just like the amount of times I've seen the movie or whatever, but I feel like I did pick up on this time the couple times that Viggo Mortensen does have to do that. Like when he's talking to the ghosts and stuff, he does have like a little bit of like a, this is going to sound cheesy, but I'm the king. And, just like that.
The
that
rightful
little
king.
bit of that tiny bit of reluctance of like not quite full confidence that he just does build up over that speech, and then successfully commanding the ghosts. And then when he actually gets to the Black Gate, you're like, oh, he's fully in his shit.
He is. That's the
He's
first time
wearing
he's
like the
kingly.
Gondor crest.
You have to feel
Yeah.
good at that point. Like
Yeah.
everything he did, he's like, yeah.
Even though the
On the
coronation comes later, he is at that
Yeah.
point
Yeah,
for
and
sure the king.
He's pumped too because finally he's realized like, great, I get to die here. I don't have to be king. It's just what I
Oh,
want.
It's
I
like,
can be
oh,
king
it was
for
so-
like 15 minutes. It's fine.
Yeah, I don't mind being king for
It's
10,
such a
20
burden.
minutes.
Like, oh, just kill me.
But honestly, the stuff I was like so excited about the stuff with Frodo and Sam at this point that I feel like there is like a little battle at the Black Gate.
Yeah.
Not much of one, but there's like stuff is happening, and I feel like I
Yeah.
don't remember like much of it at all because every
There's
time
like the troll that's about to kill Aragorn and stuff.
yeah, there's like some stuff going on because and the Nazgul show up too, and the moth comes again. And yeah, the Nazgul show up, and then the moth flies by, and I'm like, "Holy shit, the eagles are coming back!"
Get the fucking eagles.
Yeah, so it was really cool. Especially too, like you've seen Gandalf ride the eagles at that one scene, and that was it. But then they show up, and you're like, "Oh my god, these things are huge!" You know what
Yes.
These are
yeah, you
giant
forgot that
eagles.
these are as big as the dragons flying
Yes,
in the
yes.
sky.
They probably
And they're
put
much
up a
chunkier.
comparable fight.
I mean? And it's
with
just
the
really
dragon.
cool to see, like, because that's like the final battle for Middle Earth. You know what I mean? And like these like more natural forces are showing up now because it's like, well, you know.
Even they know they're like this is the end. If
Yeah, because this isn't the first, because even the Ents had it too, where they were like, no, we don't get involved. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like rewatching it and seeing that they had that scene with the eagles in there, it made me like question why for the last like 10 years people have been saying like, why didn't they just get the eagles to fly him to Mordor? It's like they really covered that in the movie. Like the Nazgul can clearly have something to say about that. Like,
Yes.
flying
Yeah.
him directly to Mordor,
and
clearly
nobody
wasn't
has
an option.
dominion over the eagles.
Right, yeah.
Like,
They don't really say it but they're like sentient beings who are
Yeah.
deciding to remain neutral or
like
whatever.
you can ask
That-
them
that-
to
I
do
was gonna
something,
say, I
but
feel
they'll
like-
just be like, no.
There's a lot in these 3 movies of people who are like, nah, this isn't my problem. Like, I'm neutral.
Right.
I'm
It's like
neutral.
we're alive.
Until that point where they're like, because the Ents do it. I guess you could argue
Yeah.
the Eagles do it too, but it's like Gandalf asked the eagles for help the first time, but this time he doesn't. The moth just happens to like show up. He doesn't like say like bring the eagles. They shows up and the eagles are like there basically.
Yeah, the moth was like, hey, the eagles are coming.
Yeah, it was more of the moth letting him know the eagles are coming.
They're like, what's up, bitch? We're back.
But the elves do the same thing in it too, because the elves are like, the elves are like, this isn't really our problem, and then they end up sending people to the Battle of Helm's Deep. It's a lot of like people who are like, no.
They do a good job of like, Sauron's really powerful, but if everyone else got on the same side, it's a fairish fight.
Yeah, but no one and everyone's like, no.
But they don't all get together at the same time.
Ever.
So right,
Yeah.
Well, I guess it really affects men more than it affects giant eagles. So
yeah.
But yeah, they know when it's last stand territory.
Exactly. So that was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that last scene on Mount Doom is it's like perfect. It's so good.
The liberal use of the shaky camera and stuff, but still good.
You mentioned already, but when Sam's fighting Gollum and Frodo has been like out cold, and he just gets up and he's just booking it. I'm like, yes, it's the you know what I mean. Little bit more, everything you have left, just go. You know what I mean.
I think Frodo knows like this is the last thing I'm doing, and I'm dying within like 45 seconds of this moment. So just let's run.
I mean, there's lava everywhere already as they're climbing Mount Doom.
Exactly.
So they've already accepted there's no return trip. So they're like, this is it. You know what I mean?
It's like, I'm not going to get this close and just like not make it because I'm walking too slowly at the end.
Yes.
It's also interesting if you think about like Frodo, if he were to read Bilbo's story and been like, wow, like how do you one up this? Frodo gets back. He's like, yeah, Bilbo.
Yeah. Your story kind of sucked compared to mine.
Oh, a dragon. How about, the entire army and the most powerful being in ever existence.
Yeah. And Bilbo never
and Gollum.
Like you don't understand, Bilbo. There was a lot more going on than what you understood.
But
how many times did you get stabbed and poisoned?
Elijah Wood and
Sean Astin.
Sam, they kill that last scene though. When they're like in Mount Doom and Frodo's like, you can just see on his face he's not doing it. You know what I mean? And Sam is just like, please, please, just.
That was the whole point of this whole thing.
We went this whole way.
I've put up with so much up to this point. I'm at wit's end.
And like, because Sam is just like, he's not even mad. You know what I mean? He's just so sad.
Defeated.
Yeah, and defeated and like.
He's crying. They're so dirty.
Yeah.
You've already admitted there's no way back. So like what, you're just we're gonna just die on the way back, but you'll still have the ring. Like
yeah, pretty much, right? That'll be the move.
And I love too, because I'm like, I knew Gollum was like that was gonna happen, but I thought maybe Sam's gonna try to get the ring or something, and then Frodo like puts it on and disappears. And Sam, like his face once Frodo's gone, and he's just like, "That's it. It's done."
How am I gonna find this invisible motherfucker?
Which is why it's good that Gollum's there, because Gollum's like, he knows to watch the footprints.
Yeah. Yes. But I love that too. It's like he just bites his finger off to get the ring. It's so gross.
Yeah. It's good that part he's invisible for, because it is really gross.
Yes. And it probably saved them a lot of money not trying to have to.
That too. That too. But oh man, it's a good moment. Then they're fighting in slow motion on the edge, and yeah, and it looks pretty seamless because he's obviously Gollum's not real. He can't hurt us. So, but it's just someone in, I guess, a green suit fighting with Elijah Wood on a flat stage. But it looks like this sort of weird Gollum dude fighting Elijah Wood on a platform above a lava pit.
It does. It looks really nice.
Good. I
love that they both go over, because I'm going to be honest, I didn't know I assumed Frodo lived too, but I was like, does he fall in the mountain? First I was like, no, he's got to be hanging on, right? And I feel like Elijah Wood really kills that scene too, because I feel like you can kind of see on his face that Frodo's
he wants to go,
debating just letting go.
Yeah,
until Sam's like, no, come on, like.
Sam can see it. He's like, don't you let go. Like, I know you're thinking, just go in the lava.
Yeah, because you can really see it on his face that he's just like, oh, may I just go in lava? Yeah. And I like that they buy a little bit of time to like threaten the forces at the Black Gate by the ring staying on top of like just random junk in the lava. You know what I mean? It doesn't hit the lava right away. It's sitting for a little bit.
The left of like Gollum's hand. It's still floating on the carbon.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Until it finally like hits the lava and like melts away and stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, we talked about the scene where he's like, I can't carry the ring, but I can carry you, and that's also when they're talking about, he forgot how strawberries taste, and he doesn't remember what the Shire looks like and stuff. And you can tell that's all stuff that's like, look, I know you forgot those good things, but they're still good things. Do not let go of the fucking mountain.
Yeah. Yes. Honestly, I think that's another reason I like Frodo and Sam stuff, because Elijah Wood and
Sean
Astin, they really do kill it.
He's in
all their
Goonies.
scenes.
Come on, he's in season 2 of Stranger Things.
I know. I do. I like him a lot. I just can't remember his name.
Yeah.
He doesn't have as poppy of a name as Elijah Wood. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
Not as unique either.
No, you know what I mean?
Like, oh, Sean.
Yeah.
Just some Sean.
Just a Sean.
And I think Sean is a little too close to Sam. And I'm like, well, Sam's not his name.
Sean wise. Yeah.
Sean.
He does eventually grab Sam's hand and gets pulled back out, and they skitter out of the mountain after you see the ground collapse under all the forces. It's one thing that's like, once the tower starts running and all the orcs and trolls are just like, we gotta get out of here. And I imagine the men are like, wait, what are they running from? And then the ground starts collapsing. It's like, did they know that was going to happen?
I was very confused with that part. I was like,
where are they running to?
The ground seems to know specifically where they are too, because it's leaving everyone else behind.
Magic.
Yeah, I was like,
it's like, ooh, we're gonna need those eagles because there's a huge chasm all around this small circle of land that we're on.
Eagle friends, perhaps crows. We'll take any giant bird at this point.
A whole army on an island of land here now.
Sam and Frodo finding their little piece of rock to die on is really nice too, and they're just like,
yep.
And I think that's when Frodo says, "It's over, it's done," that's a meme.
Yeah.
I really like that one.
It's done.
It's so dirty in that scene too.
Yeah, they're gross.
Except for his blue eyes.
Yeah,
that's what's important.
Glowing.
Yeah, his glowing blue eyes. The rest of him is
Can you imagine how bad they must smell?
I don't think they've showered in 14 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when I noted when he says like it's done, and like you said, it's been memed to death and stuff, but you just feel like, I don't know if there's any other movie series that like you really feel the burden that one of these characters has, and the way that you feel like this is what Frodo's whole life is about now, and now it's over, and he's just like, whatever, I'm done.
Yeah,
it's
they also
done.
accepted
I'm done.
like
this is done.
I'm dying on this mountain now.
Yes.
That's it. You know what I mean?
I can die happy.
He's not happy. He's not sad. He's just like,
it's over.
I'm over.
Yeah,
it is over.
He's relieved.
It's done.
I don't even. He's barely relieved.
Right? Yeah, he's barely relieved. He's just like, whatever. We did what we had to do.
Yeah, we did it. I can die.
Yeah.
No more responsibilities.
Yeah,
but there's still 30-ish minutes left, and one of the things.
Okay, so I obviously knew the Eagles were going to come next. I would have guessed there was 5 more minutes of this movie.
Yeah, one of the things that people talk about with this movie, not necessarily negatively, but one of like the persistent jokes is that it has like 40 different endings. But there really is only like a half hour left at this point, and there's a lot of loose ends to tie up, and they cut a lot out of what happens in the books at this point. There's a whole section of the scouring of the Shire where they go back and the Shire's all fucked up and under attack and stuff, and they have to like defend and rebuild the Shire and stuff.
Oh no, I don't like that.
That could be a whole movie in itself.
I'm glad that's not in there.
Yeah, because it's just like, okay, the emotional lift is over at this point.
Yeah.
Or so we think. And it's just like downhill action. But I like that they go back to the Shire, and clearly the other hobbits are just like, I didn't even notice you guys were gone. We're just so far at the end of the world that we didn't know anything happened.
Except for when they came and ravished everything.
Yeah.
But we cleaned it up because we knew how hard of a time you had.
But there is, another scene that has been a pretty popular meme template before that, when they're in Rivendell and everyone's laughing and jumping on the bed.
Yes. Yeah, I really like that. Obviously, I knew there was going to have to be a scene like that, so it was really nice.
Yes.
And Frodo's even more rich now. That mithril shirt probably costs more than the entire Shire times 20.
Yeah. So that's a fun scene. It should be cheesy, but it works because you're really happy to see all these guys see each other again.
It is, yeah. Like I knew there was going to be a scene like that, but it still like hits pretty hard. It was still really nice.
And then they're at Minas Tirith for Aragorn's coronation.
Yep. Coronation was fine. The scene, like the part, obviously, when he told like the hobbits that they don't kneel, was really, really good.
You bow to no one.
Yeah, you bow to no one. And like, except for you and Merry and Pippin, maybe you guys. I mean, you
especially
good,
Pippin. You did redeem yourself a little bit, but
You bow still, I think.
You fucked up.
You fucked up. You're at best net zero.
I really like that it goes from that scene where everyone on Minas Tirith is bowing to they're back in the Shire at like a bar and nobody
gives a shit. I was just gonna say the same thing.
Everyone's just being a hobbit, and they're like not really hobbity anymore.
It's like, oh, do men bow to you? Who cares? I have a garden. Like I could give two shits.
Yeah. And I do feel like, so, I mean, the Aragorn coronation's the last time we see a lot of our friends. But that's when,
the real question is Sam still going to tend to the garden of Frodo?
I can't imagine Frodo cares anymore, right? But he probably does just to be,
but I
just
care.
to hang out.
I'm assuming Frodo gives Sam like his house and everything, because like, why wouldn't he?
It's a surprise exit, so maybe he doesn't. Those Bagginses, they don't tell people when they're leaving forever.
Yeah.
That's how the first Baggins got that last name. He just grabbed his bags and left.
Bags out. Yeah, so I think, I don't know. I love that they're having like, I mean, this is all handled really efficiently, but they show them having obvious re-entry issues, right?
Yeah,
and not very hobbity.
Not very hobbity. They're just like,
PTSD.
and then Sam, the MVP.
Saves the day again. He's like, we can still be hobbity.
He goes and like apparently gets engaged on the spot to this lady, and everyone starts laughing again for a little bit.
This last 30 minutes is like 5 or 10 years.
Yes, because they say it's been 13 months since they left, and then when Frodo is like finishing the book or whatever, he says it's been 4 years.
4 years
since
yes.
Weathertop. So it's over the course of a few years that they've been like just
so
chilling.
Frodo's like 56 at this point or something.
Pretty much.
And then there's more time passes too between that and I think them actually getting him to the boat. Because when Sam comes home, he has children.
When at their wedding, they already have 4 kids, I think.
Do they?
I mean, what else is the Hobbit?
There's some very small children around them. I'm assuming it's their kids. Yeah, what else is there to do for hobbits, right? So yeah, it's been a few. So that does make me feel a little better when Frodo leaves. It's like, okay, well, at least they hung out for a few years first. But yeah, that ending scene on the docks with the elves. By the way, Elrond did not need to be rushing Arwen apparently, because the last boat left like 4 years after he's
right.
Like Arwen needs to leave right now. It's like, I don't know that she does.
Really?
We didn't talk about the Arwen stuff at all, but it's like, yeah, it's real bad out there. She's dying because of how evil it's getting.
Yeah, I didn't mention it because that part was a little bit like, she's just dying because it's too evilly.
And Aragorn's like, okay, I guess I'm going to keep doing the thing I was trying to do.
That was the one part in this whole like series that I was like, what?
There's so
feels
much
like Arwen gets less to do every movie, pretty much. Yeah.
They
There's just
tried
so
to
much into the
explain that in
background of the
Rings of
elves.
Power, but I don't know how canonical it is. So it's just kind of like, but basically, yeah, they do die because it gets too evil.
But all that being said, it is, Elrond was just playing when he's like, we need to leave right now. It's like, clearly you didn't need to leave right now. I'm sure Sauron being defeated probably bought them a few years, but
I don't know how canonical this is either, but for Rings of Power, where they're going, it seems like it's like a day and a half, a day journey on a boat. Like it's like just across the ocean over there. Like it's not like this like epic
like
4
going
month
to
like
Martha's Vineyard.
That's what it seemed like. Like they don't even take big ships. They don't have like massive sails or places for store.
Yeah.
like
no, it's like a sloop.
Yeah,
Just,
like,
I was a little sad,
but it's
with the
also
ending.
basically heaven, right?
Yeah.
They don't you can't come back, and you can't go if you're not an
See,
elf.
I was a little sad with the
Little
ending
racist.
because they don't really explain what this place is that the elves are going to in the series.
Yeah, don't worry
It's
about
just
it.
like
Lucky
it's a place
for you, there's a whole series.
we're leaving. You know what I mean? We're going
Yeah.
to this other place. And when Frodo and Bilbo leave to go there, I was like, oh, this is sad. You know what I mean? Especially because I don't know where they're going. I don't know if it's good, really. Like they're just like, we're just going.
I think that's the point.
Yeah.
It's just
It
you,
is-
you
It's
don't
gotta
always
be
just
better
get to
than
recover from
their previous
everything.
trips.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Yeah.
you have to just go and
It is basically like heaven.
Okay.
They're dying. Anyway, Aragorn, because of his like elder blood and stuff, I think he lives for another couple hundred years after this as king or something.
Yeah.
He's not just normal human years. So Arwen, so it's not that bad a deal for Arwen, as we were talking about in the last movie because
Pretty big
Aragorn
difference from
lives,
Forever,
like,
but
preternaturally.
Yeah.
Well, I love that in this movie she's like, oh yeah, but we can have like kids and I can hang out with descendants and it's not the same, but like, you know, I can spend time with my grandchildren and stuff too. It's not that bad.
I still get to build a family.
Right, yeah, you can still build a family.
like, who do you really want to live forever?
And the only reason I'm circling back to that is because did you guys know who the elf that tells her, my lady, we have to continue is? Did you know who that is?
No.
Nope.
That is Brett McKenzie, half of Flight of the Conchords.
Wait, really?
Yep. That's one half of the,
Wait,
as they would say, fourth most popular folk comedy duo in New Zealand.
Oh, that's
from
so-
the,
that's-
from the HBO
that's
show Flight of the Conchords and
hilarious.
also existing as a real band. And
that's a cool fun fact.
Jermaine Clement's probably been in more stuff at this point. He's like a pretty popular voice actor in a lot of kids' movies, but Brett's been in a ton of stuff too. And you know, it's fun to see him pop up here. He was actually in Fellowship of the Ring also, and then because there's this whole internet thing where I forgot who there's some person, some lady, a person who was watching it. Right after Frodo says like I'll take the ring at the Council of Elrond, it cuts to a wide shot and she was thinking to herself, oh, Frodo is who is that? And it's Brett McKenzie. He's sitting like at the end of the dais. He doesn't have any lines in Fellowship of the Ring, and so Frodo is great. Who is that? Figwit. So this character's named Figwit, and there's like a whole Wikipedia article about him just because the internet was so in love with how attractive Brett McKenzie looked as an elf, I guess. That's why this random character has one line in this one scene in Return of the King.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
Supposedly. Again, you hear stuff like that and then you're like, I thought they filmed all these at the same time. How was there enough internet chatter that they did this later? It's like, I don't know, but that's the story. All that to say, well, maybe we'll cut that out, but I thought it's a fun fact. So they're dead.
Okay. Cool.
You hear the melody to Into the West by Annie Lennox, a song we all love. And they go off into the West.
The end.
Sam returns home. He says, I'm back.
Yep. He's got his book. Good movie.
The end.
Yeah.
I think that's...
We gotta give it.
That's got to be the longest that we've actually talked about just the movie. And actually, and then
Normally
this
we go
happened.
off into like tangents.
Yeah, little cul-de-sacs of nonsense. But I think we've done... There's a lot to get through with all these movies. I think we've done a good job.
I think so. Yeah.
Anyway, you guys like this one?
Oh yeah.
It was all right.
It was really
I've only
good.
seen it like 15 times.
I don't mind the ending and like the repeated kind of fades to black, the slow fades to black, and then it holds on black for a while, and then comes back, and you're like, oh, there's 7 more scenes left. There's 60 different scenes in the selection menu on the DVD.
Oh my God.
But whatever, I think it earns its runtime.
I thought it was great.
It moves, man.
Yeah, it does.
Greg, now you gotta go and like YouTube all the deleted scenes.
So every week we'll put our ratings for the movies onto letterboxd.com. You can just search for Late to the Movies and you'll find it. On a scale of I don't think you can give a 0. On a scale of 0.5 to 5, going by halves, what would you guys give this movie? Any scale of your choosing.
Easy. 5 disgustingly eaten chicken turkey legs out of
That's a good
5.
one.
John Noble just chomping on
5
that.
squelchers out of 5.
Chomping on that poultry.
5 out of 5 witch kings, of wherever, not just
Of wherever.
necessarily.
That's nice.
Yeah. I'll go 5 out of 5 flaming, flying Denethors.
Hell yeah.
I love that scene where it's just like this guy's like, oh shit, and he's not even dead yet, and Gandalf goes, well, there goes the last act of Denethor the idiot, or whatever.
I believe that was the direct
Or he
quote.
says, and so ends the reign of that stupid guy. and I love that you see him jumping off of that pointy bit of Minas Tirith, and it just fades back, and you're like, okay, back to the real stuff.
He's
that
like, I could have
matters.
healed him, but fuck that guy.
That guy
Nobody wants
sucked, and now he's gone, and he's still running at that point.
He's not dead yet.
He's not dead. We're all watching him. He can hear you.
It's like a bunch of people with buckets of water. They just put him down.
I forgot the water.
Oh no, I missed.
I'll do 5 out of 5 destroyed rings.
Oh, no, good thing you went last then.
On the
Yeah.
finger.
On the figure. Is this the best of the 3 movies?
I really like the first one.
Yeah.
But,
I think it
I
might
think
be.
this one.
The first one might be my
It's close
favorite.
though.
I think this one's my favorite.
They're all so good.
It's close. Like I said, the Frodo and Sam stuff, I like way more in this one than
It's the best in this one.
in anything else.
I think the Fellowship guys are probably the weakest in this one, but
Mhm.
it's
It's still really good.
Because the first
It
two
makes sense.
built up so much for this one to be awesome.
yeah. This one doesn't have to. It still has to get pieces in place, but it doesn't have to do a lot of groundwork.
But the groundwork of the first movie for me is like
So good.
Oh.
That's why I'm like, oh, the first one, it's close. It's close. But
I-
I think this one I like a little more than the first.
it is really satisfying, and it has such like an emotional gut punch.
It does. That's what it gets
Yeah.
me is that end.
That's until the ending. I'm probably leaning more towards Fellowship,
For sure.
yeah.
and maybe even Towers before this one.
It's all the stuff on once they're on Mount Doom. That's like when this one
it's-
really hits me.
It's really good because through the fight at Minas Tirith, I'm like, this is good, but I still probably like the other ones more. But then, that last hour, I think,
Mhm.
really seals it for this one.
3 used to be my favorite, but more recently 1 swapped. So maybe in another 2 years, the last
Yeah.
one will become my favorite again.
Yeah, or 2 Towers maybe.
Yeah.
Just get them all.
I think it's just impressive thinking of the trilogy as a whole, like how intentional it all was and just how much it really does just build up for the third one. I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of series, they don't have that like continuity.
It's probably a lot easier when you do all 3 at once.
Well,
for
because they don't
sure.
give you a second season if you do that.
Well, that's
Yeah,
like
that's
it
true.
feels like they're always trying to set up something else, and they're never just like completing a full. And
Yeah.
it's really
Because
nice
in
that
this one,
did
he
this.
probably was just like, I'm just going to make a complete thing and then just move things around and be like, okay, I'm
Yeah.
just going to pause twice.
Exactly.
How do I move things around and make those pauses nice? Okay, bam.
Yeah.
It's just
We got
it's
3
such a
movies.
unique experience. Like I don't feel like I've
Mhm.
seen anything that has that level of
No.
like this works so well.
And it's with a lot of changes to the source, even though it's a really famous source material, very strong, but they move some stuff around. So I mean, like, it's not like they just went from page to screen and used that as a script. Like they
Right.
did. They had to do a lot of work to adapt it to work like this. And I think you said at the outset, one of the most impressive, if not the most impressive feat of filmmaking, certainly this millennium, I would think.
For sure.
And if you just look at, I think, one of the more recent, not quite planned trilogies that didn't really go anywhere, if you look at the Star Wars movies that were not written and filmed at the same time and have
No.
these kind of separate processes and creative teams.
They feel like
Yeah.
3 so separate movies.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they
so
do.
different. Everything about
Regardless, obviously they're divisive. Regardless of how you feel about them, they don't feel like a point A
Piece.
to point B
No.
thing.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything that really has that same
Yeah.
level, like Indiana Jones. No, they don't have. that
What
level
what
of
Gandalf
complexity.
tells Frodo to do within the first hour of Fellowship of the Ring is a thing that he finishes one of the last acts he does in the third movie. So
Yeah.
it's what, and he builds towards it the whole time.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
like
just-
the
it's really
Matrix
nice.
isn't that cohesive.
Probably
No.
no.
That's just kind of all over the place.
It's
No,
never
but we
been
love
given
those
that.
dumb movies. Cool. Well, I think we liked these movies. For the 4th episode this month, I feel like we should do the Rankin Bass animated Hobbit movie, which mercifully is under 80 minutes long. So if any of you guys want to be on that one, let me know.
Oh, definitely.
Cool.
Yes, let's watch that.
My oath to you is fulfilled.
Or I might have watched it.
Release me.
You gave us your
You
word.
gave me your word. Release me.
My oath is fulfilled.
Perfect. That's you should end it
All
on
right,
that.
It's over. It's done.
And then Robbie's in the corner like, he could be really useful on the next episode.
I do have the beard for it.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah.
As you stroke it.
I consider your oath fulfilled. Thank you, Greg, for being on these 3 episodes. I got you immediately out. Anything else we want to say about these movies? They're great. Watch
Great.
them.
Loved all of them.
Awesome movies.
Yep. Yeah, thanks for being on, Robbie, Cory, Greg.
Yeah, thanks.
I don't
See?
have a good out besides.
Nah, it's okay.
Bunch of
Greg's oath is
places.
Yeah,
fulfilled.
you can find us on a bunch of places. It's a long episode. If you've listened before, you know that you're already listening to it as on a platform. Listen to it there. You can email Noah at latetothemovies@gmail.com. You can find our Instagram at late2themovies_podcast. And thanks for listening.
It's done.
It's done. I'm back.